So, welcome to Madrid. Today, you'll get a chance to explore a few incredible and truly remarkable landmarks, including Madrid's Royal Palace and Cathedral, San Nicolas Church, Plaza de la Vida, Plaza Mayor, and Puerta del Sol. And it's really cool just actually being able to see Natalia, who's our local expert, walking through the streets, seeing what it's like over there. It's a pretty cool lens and perspective, along with learning about the history and the rich heritage of this incredible city. Today will be hosted by Natalia De La Cavada, and she is an expert tour guide and has been so for the past 20 years, working in over 30 countries, which is pretty incredible. Natalia did grow up in Madrid, Spain. She is currently based in Havana, Cuba, where she runs her own tours. Don't worry though, today she is still in Madrid, but she is working in Cuba most of the time. And I've linked her Instagram and her Facebook in case you want to follow her and just see what she's up to. I know people who have stayed with Natalia and they had rave reviews. This is her guest house. It's called Melakon Sunset Guest House. And it's this incredible, modern, tastefully decorated 5-room guest house facing the Atlantic Ocean on Havana's iconic seafront, Melakon. You can see Natalia there with a group that she's leading and touring with. And again, her Instagram and Facebook are there in case you want to learn more information and just see what she's up to. And at some point when it's safe to travel again, if you are looking to visit Spain, it's such a popular destination. We have so many different options for Spain. Our most popular is a Costa del Sol seaside stay, which is on the coast. It's a long stay vacation travel style. You can pick any fall or winter date, you can choose your duration. And what's really nice about it is you can actually pair it with our 4-day Madrid city tour. So you are able to see the coast and lay by the beach, but also make sure not to miss out on, again, just this incredible rich history and heritage of Madrid. So with that, folks, we are going to see if we can get Natalia here to start her tour. Natalia, if you are there, please, I'm just found you here, so I'm going to unmute you. And I'm going to spotlight you so everybody can see you.
Hello.
Natalia.
Thank you, Sandra. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here with me today. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here, to be doing this tour for you today. Madrid is actually such a beautiful city. It has a lot of beautiful corners, beautiful squares, and it's very lively. Even now with the pandemic, it's quite lively. So I decided to start the tour here in this beautiful area. This is the Royal Palace of Madrid. This is the area where Madrid was founded, okay? So in the 8th century, the Moors conquered most of Spain, and actually they took over most of Spain except the north. And the Moors set up their capital city in Toledo, just 1 hour south of Spain. And they were looking for a strategic location to build a defensive castle to fight against the Christians, because the Christians were trying to retake Spain. So they chose this location right here to build the fortress. At this time, there was nothing in Madrid. It was pretty much mountains and rivers, and they built a fortress here because I'm going to show you the views. You have great views of the mountains that surround Madrid, and they were able to actually have, a perspective of the enemies coming. So I'm going to switch for a moment. Okay, sorry. Okay, here you can see I'm not sure if you can see really well, but at the very back, you can see the mountains. This is the Guadarama Mountains. And just behind this palace, there is a river. So they call actually Madrid, the name Madrid comes from the river because it means in Arabic, a place of abundant water. This is actually a landmark in Madrid. You can see the tower. This is Plaza De Espana. It's being under construction at the moment, but I just want to show you the Royal Gardens over here. I'm not sure if you can properly see, but those are the Royal Gardens that were built, inspired in Versailles. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this Royal Palace now is actually the biggest palace in the whole world that is still functioning. It has 100 rooms. It's actually bigger than the Royal Palace in England, and the Buckingham Palace is bigger than Versailles. So, you know, the King and Queen of Spain, they don't actually live here, but they still hold official ceremonies here. And obviously, if you look at it, you're probably going to tell me, Natalia, this doesn't look anything like a Moorish style or anything, right? Well, this is because actually the original fortress was burned. So in 1734, there was a fire that destroyed the original Moorish castle. And we had a king at the time that was from France. So he brought this style that is a little bit more French and Italian. Okay. Sandra, I don't know if anybody has any comments, questions.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free. Natalia, I was just going to say, you are wearing your mask because legally you have to in Madrid right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, thank you for saying. Yeah, actually, it's compulsory in Madrid. Otherwise, I will take it off, and I just have the civil guards over there. So if I do it, I will get a huge fine. So that's why I'm wearing it. So these beautiful gardens here, this is called the Eastern Square, okay? Plaza de Oriente. It's a beautiful, beautiful square. You can see our lifestyle in Spain is a lot about being outside, being outdoors, even in the winter, in the summer. I mean, right now is 13, 14 degrees, so it's not too bad. It's sunny most of the time in Madrid. And here you can see the Opera House. And also you can have a look at the beautiful architecture, right? Okay, I want to tell you a funny story about this sculpture. This sculpture is from Philip IV. This sculpture was actually made in the 17th century. So it has been standing there for like 500 years. Philip IV was a king from the Habsburg dynasty in Spain, and people really like him because he engaged a lot with arts and culture. And he wanted to have a sculpture like this standing up on a horse, which at the time was something really difficult to achieve. I mean, right now it's easy, right? When we think at today, is now not difficult at all. But at this time was something challenging. So he hired an Italian engineer called Taka to make the sculpture for him. Actually, Diego Velazquez, which is one of the most famous Spanish painters. I'm sure some of you have heard about him. So he painted the sculpture. And then Taka didn't know how to make it up. So he talked to his Italian colleague, Galileo Galilei, who was a philosopher and astronomer in Italy, and he gave him the equation on how to do it. He told him he had to put the base of the sculpture with the tail and the legs at the back, and then in the front, sort of make it hollow. and that way that will stand forever. So at the time was something very cool in the 17th century and has been there since. Okay, so Sandra, I'm going to walk up now a little bit through one of the squares. So you can see, even though we have the pandemic, everybody's out. This is very much our Spanish lifestyle. Being out, having some drinks. Sandra, if people want to ask anything or comment, I'm walking now for a few minutes.
Amazing. We did have one question from Paige come in, and she's asking, how hot is it in Madrid? And do you typically get a lot of rain or not really?
No, Madrid is very dry. Actually, it's one of the driest places in Spain because it's right in the middle of the country. So we don't have coast. And it's actually the highest European capital. We are over 1,000 meters. And the temperature right now is 15 degrees. I'm actually sweating because I chose to wear the wrong jumper. It's not too hot, not too cold, like to wear this. So in winter, the average temperature, during the day is easily 10, 12 degrees. In the summer, it gets really hot, over 40 degrees. Okay, so now we are going to arrive to a little square that I really like, because here there is a secret about Madrid that many people don't know about it yet. Okay, I read the questions about the museums. The museums are open. Actually, I have been going to a lot of the museums lately because they are all open, so that's really good. The theaters are open too. Well, I am from the train station. I am maybe half an hour walk, so not too close. Okay, so now guys, I am in this place, Plaza de Ramales. I'm going to show you this guy. Maybe some of you know about him. His name is Diego de Velazquez. He was one of the most famous painters, well, probably the most famous painter of Spain in the 1600s, 17th century. He was the author of Las Meninas in El Prado Museum. So he was buried here in 1660. So you guys can see okay, you can see this structure over here. But this is the oldest structure of a church, okay? So this church, in 1660, when Velazquez died, he was buried here under this church. He had a very beautiful ceremony because people loved him a lot in Spain. And in 1810, the church was destroyed and they forgot to take the remains out. And then later on, they looked for his body, for Velazquez's body. 3 times they have excavated this area and they haven't found the remains of Diego Velázquez. So it's kind of like an interesting story because he's not the only one. In Spain, we have another 2 or 3 painters that we don't know where they are. And they have made a monument here. This monument here, just saying that at some point, Diego Velázquez was buried here, okay? I don't know why my camera is backwards, but anyways, this is a beautiful building. I want to show you. You can see some amazing architecture in the center of Madrid, right? This area of Madrid, which is the most beautiful area, is called Habsburg Madrid because it was all built in the 15th, 16th, 17th century when the Spanish Empire was booming because Spain was conquering Latin America and a lot of money was coming through, right, from the ships with all the goods from the Latin American countries. So they brought a a lot of wealth, and that's when they built all this area. And at this time, the dynasty that was governing was from Austria, because our king and queen married the daughter to this guy from the Habsburg dynasty, because that way they will have the control of the whole of Europe. Yes, Andrea, if people want to ask any questions, I'm walking right now.
Sounds good. If anybody has any questions, please do feel free to ask. I see one just came in. Are there bike tours in the area?
Yeah, there are bike tours. It's becoming more popular because actually Madrid, probably from all the cities in Spain, is probably the less bike friendly. And I am a biker. I love biking. So I'm happy that over the last few years, they have developed a bigger, railroad for bikes. Well, I don't know, sorry, bike road. And yeah, it's becoming more and more accessible, the city, for bikers, and they do bike tours. There are a lot of companies. There is actually one quite close to here. I don't know if anybody asked anything else before.
That's it so far.
Okay, cool. Well, now we are going to head to the oldest church. This is also very typical of Madrid and also of Spain, right? All the very narrow streets. We are going to head now to, we have here the oldest standing church in Madrid. It's from the 1100s, 12th century. Okay, let me show you. Is this church over here? But what I really want to show you, I don't think I can zoom in. Okay, what I really want to show you is the tower. Do you see the tower? It's like a different style. It doesn't look like the typical churches in the rest of Europe. And this is a style, it's called mudéjar, with the arches. I don't know if you can see properly. A little bit, can you see?
Well, yeah, you can see.
Yeah, so the style is called mudéjar. This church is from the 12th century. The Christians reconquered Madrid from the Moors in the 11th century. And this is when Madrid started as a town in the 11th century. So even though this is a Christian church, it has a Moorish style, because at the time there was a lot of Moorish influence in the rest of Spain, because the Moors were in Spain until the 15th century. So the Christians were imitating this Moorish style in the architecture. This is what we call mudéjar. It's a very typical architecture, a style of architecture in Spain, because the Moorish style was in fashion, right? Okay, so we are going to walk a little bit now. I actually want to show you a great perspective of the city, in also a beautiful street that not many people know about, because it's sort of on the side, but it has a great perspective of the Royal Palace and also of the cathedral that we haven't seen yet.
Natalia, we had a couple of questions.
Yeah. The name of the oldest church is San Nicolas Church. It's just next to where we were, which is Plaza de Oriente, the Royal Palace. That's the closest landmark. Okay, so this is a great place for sunset. Great place for sunset and great views. I'm going to get a little bit closer. Okay. So you can see how, can you see well, Sandra?
We do. We see the clouds. It looks so beautiful.
Okay, perfect. So what you see here in my left-hand side is the cathedral of Madrid. It's called the Almudena Cathedral. They built, which seems like nothing if you are thinking about the 15th century, 16th century, but it's like, no, it was finished in 1993, but it took a lot of time to be built because the Spanish Civil War got in the middle and a lot of poverty, a lot of problems. And right at the back, you can see what was the hunting grounds, Casa de Campo. And you can also see there is now a public park, right? It's the biggest public park in Madrid, and it used to be the hunting ground. And here is the Royal Palace where we were, okay? So this is one of the best places to come for sunset in Madrid. You can see all these people. They're already sort of waiting for it. Yeah. So I'm going to walk for a little while. I don't know if anybody has anything else.
We did get a couple of questions. So Lucy wanted to know, where is the busiest market, or are there any markets in Madrid that you really recommend?
Oh yeah, we have a great market. It's very close to here. It's called El Rashtro. It's the oldest market in Madrid. It's actually like centuries old. And it's every Sunday. It's open now. It had been closed for a while for the pandemic, but they just reopen it every Sunday. And they have a little bit of everything. They have like a lot of antiques, clothes. It's huge. You can spend there the whole day. It's very close to this area. So we are now in the pretty much getting to La Latina. So this is in La Latina, this market. That's the biggest one. And then we have a food market I really love. We are going to walk past it today, but this one has closed because of the pandemic, because it's indoors. And this is the best. I mean, it's a little bit touristy, the food market. And in the market, San Miguel Market. But yeah, I still recommend it. A lot of locals will go there too, because it has a great vibe. It's a very good place to try wines. I mean, you know, in Spain, we make more wine than anybody else in the world. We love our wine. Great place to have wine and tapas and nice atmosphere. The place of the, where we were watching the sunset, that's a street. That's called Calle del Factor Street, just next to the Royal Palace. Yeah, just behind it. Okay, just because it's here, I'm going to show you. This is the Cathedral of the Army. The Cathedral of the Royal Army. They have a special cathedral. And, you know, in Spain, we are all about Catholicism. So we have a million cathedrals and churches everywhere. These days, people are not so Catholic anymore, but in the past, everyone was very Catholic until the generation of my parents. Everyone was very Catholic. Now, it's quite different. If I show you now, for example, this building, you see the gay flag. This is a ministry for feminism. And, you know, now Spain is very open. We were one of the first countries to approve gay marriage, and we have a lot of laws for gender, to defend women's rights and things like this. Okay, guys, so we are walking now through Calle Mayor, which is one of the main streets of the city center. Normally, this will be full of tourists on normal times. You see this sort of souvenir shops, right? Most of them have been closed, but some of them remain open. And we are going to head now to one of the most beautiful squares of the city.
Natalia, we had someone ask if it's easy for tourists to get around in Madrid.
Yeah, it's very easy. Our public transportation is great. You don't even need to take taxis anywhere because we have, normally our underground is one of the best in the world, really. It's one of the things that we have that's really good. It's very clean, it's very fast, and it normally works until 2 a.m., from 6 a.m. until 2 a.m. And it covers the whole city and the outskirts. And then we have also buses. And then in the city center around this area, you can walk everywhere. We are using Spain to walk in quite a lot. We walk everywhere. You know, we are big walkers because our cities are sort of designed for walking around. Okay, so we have arrived to this was in medieval times when the Spanish Empire was booming in the 1500s. This was when Madrid started to grow as a town. It was the 1100s, right? So, but really in the 1500s was when Spain conquered Latin America. As I was telling you, the Habsburg were in charge of as kings and queens of Spain. So they built all this area. We call it Madrid de los Austrias because they are from Austria. And this was the main square of Madrid during medieval times. You can see the beautiful buildings. I'm going to switch so you can see properly. This is called Plaza de la Villa or La Villa Square, which means town's square, okay? So look at these buildings. We have three amazing buildings here. They are from 3 different centuries, each of them. So this one is the oldest one, okay? You can see the same style. This one is from the 1500s, Casa De Lujano. It's the oldest building in Madrid that is still a civil building, that is still like working. Today is actually home of the Royal Academy of Politics. There we have this other building from the 16th century. It was a palace. It's a plateresque. We call the architectonical style. It's a palace that used to belong to a governor. And this building over here is 17th century. If you look at the roof, you can see this is from the kind of roof they use in Austria for the snow that they sort of imported here, the Habsburg dynasty, okay? So this building was the Madrid town hall all the way from the 17th century until 2007. So it has been the main town hall for like over 300 years, okay? Yeah, I love this square. It's very well preserved. And it's quite quiet, actually. It's like, you know, civil sort of buildings. So we are going to walk a little bit. So if somebody wants to ask anything.
We did have another question, Natalia, and I know this is always changing and evolving, but do you have any idea on how limited travel is currently to and from Spain? Do you know of any big restrictions or any information on that?
Yeah, sure. Well, in Madrid, in Spain, it's funny because all the decisions are taken province by province. So each province decides on their laws. So, for example, in the case of Madrid, our governor, she's a little bit like a mini Trump. So she doesn't care too much about the pandemic. So she keeps Madrid open. And that's good in a way because Madrid has had less restrictions than the rest of the communities. So it's possible to fly to anywhere in Spain. You just need to bring a PCR, okay? Now, if you fly to Madrid, maybe you are not able to go anywhere else. So I can fly now to the Caribbean and come back, but I cannot not go to another community because the rest of the communities are closed. You know what I mean? So there are restrictions between provinces, but there are no restrictions on flying internationally. So it's changing all the time, but for the last month, pretty much, Madrid and Canary Islands are the areas that remain open, and everything else has been closed. So you can fly directly to Madrid or Barcelona, no problem, but then maybe you are not able to go anywhere else.
And have you typically seen, or do you know of any Americans that have come and have property there? Is that something that's big in Spain or Madrid?
Sorry, do you mind to repeat the question?
Yeah, so we just have Ralph asking if there's ever an opportunity for Americans to go and live in Spain and get property there. Do you know?
Yeah, sure. We have a lot of foreigners from all around the world buying property and living in Spain. You know, we have a lot of Europeans in Mallorca, south of Spain, that they have bought properties in everywhere, Palma de Mallorca, Malaga, you know, all these tourist areas. Okay, I want to show you. This market is the market I was talking about. Okay, this is San Miguel Market. It's amazing. I love this place. If you guys come to Madrid, you cannot miss this place. Okay, you have amazing. Normally, it's obviously open. Each of these little areas has different foods, different tapas. They have sort of high quality tapas, you know, and also pastries, all the typical foods, a lot of wines you can try. So now sadly it's closed because of the pandemic, which is a pity. But yeah, I totally love it. Okay, you were asking me about typical foods. Typical foods, we have a lot of typical foods. In a little while, I'm going to walk through an area where I can show you some typical foods, but we have a Spanish omelette. I don't know if you guys know. It's made out with onion, potato. It's like an omelette, but it's really tasty. Now, the typical food of Madrid, it sounds strange because we don't have sea around us, is actually a fried squid sandwich. So now we are entering this area called Plaza Mayor. And this is the typical area. Everyone who comes to Madrid, you have to eat a fried squid sandwich with bread. It comes with bread and lemon and a beer, right? So all these restaurants I'm going to show you right now, they are typical on this because it's like typical food from Madrid. I mean, we have a lot better food, but this is sort of typical from the center of Madrid. Yeah, this is everywhere in this area, right? Very, very typical. Yeah, I will show you some other typical food here.
And
I mean, this is a little touristy.
Natalia, someone wants to know what your favorite tapas bar is. Is there one that you really love?
Yeah, there is a traditional one called Casa Alberto. It's very close to here. You can write it down, Casa Alberto. That's very traditional. Okay, so here we have gambas like, you know, garlic shrimps, croquettes, sort of cheese. We have a lot of cheese, a lot of Spanish ham, you know, like prosciutto, paella. You can see quite a wide selection here, right? All the different hams, the different cheeses. People love meat in Spain. Paella, fish. black sauce, black pudding. This is very typical too. Also tribes and things like this. This is very typical. In Spain, people eat everything from the pig, everything. Okay, so now we are going to enter another beautiful square. This is probably the main square of Madrid at the moment, okay? Plaza de la Villa, the one we just went to, was the main square during medieval times, 1500s. Okay, this square, let me show you first and then I tell you the story because you can see how beautiful this place is, okay? This is called Plaza Mayor. Plaza Mayor or main square. Okay, just to tell you a little bit about the story about this square. When Philip II from the Habsburg dynasty decided in 1561, because Madrid started to grow as a town in the 1100s, but in 1561 he decided Madrid was going to be his capital because before that Toledo was the capital city. Okay. So he wanted to have a grand square, a very beautiful, bigger than the Plaza de la Villa, nicer. And he ordered this square to be built. You can see how beautiful it is, right? This is very, very popular. Oh, the police. Okay. Actually, this square has gone through a lot of things. So there have been 3 fires in the 16th and 17th century. So the only original building is this one I'm showing you right now that actually has some beautiful murals. The murals are not old. The murals are only from 30 years ago, but the building is original from the 1700s. It's the only one that is left because there were 3 fires and the fires destroyed all the buildings. They had to redo it. Anyways, this Plaza Mayor was home to a lot of history in Spain. In the 16th century, the Spanish Inquisition, they were like doing public executions in this square. So they were burning people, the Spanish Inquisition. They were doing bullfighting before the bullfighting ring was built in Madrid. They were also doing carnival parties, football parties and stuff. I will show you because here we have some part of the history in the benches, but there is some people sitting down, so let me see what I can show you. Okay. Permiso. Dale. So here you can see this is about the Spanish Inquisition, right? Here they are representing the fire. You cannot see very well, but it's a representation of the fire. Here about the bullfighting. Okay, so you know, a little bit of the history is written in the benches. In Christmas, if you happen to come to Madrid during Christmas time, there is a big Christmas market here. It's really pretty. Anyways, this place is always very lively. Now, because of the pandemic, it's not so full, but normally out of the pandemic, it's full. Like all the bars, all the restaurants, everything. There are 10 streets that come to this square. So you see there are many gates. You can see different gates. So there are 10 different streets coming to this square. Yes, Sandra, I don't know if I missed any questions.
We just had somebody ask about the dollar exchange. I don't know if you know that off the top of your head, but someone did answer for $1 US. It's 0.85 euros.
Yeah, probably. Hello.
And
probably it's around there. It's less, the dollar is a little bit less than the euro, always. So maybe sometimes it's 90 cents, sometimes 85, sometimes 92, something like that, you know?
yeah,
It
and for us in
fluctuates.
Canada, it was just a little bit lower, 0.64. So, and where you were just showing, are the areas above floors all residences, or is that more government areas?
No, this is mostly residences and some hotels too. This is
Wow.
mostly residences, apartments. Funny. And some
Hello.
hotels too.
That's
Okay.
so fun.
So now we are going to walk through a tourist street. So I'm going to put the camera like this so you can see. Normally these shops are now closed because of the pandemic, okay? So even though, as I was telling you, Madrid hasn't been as affected as other parts of Spain, the tourist industry has been quite affected, right? Thank you. So here I can show you here some of the typical food. This is what we eat in Christmas, turrones. It's made of almond. This is very typical from Spain, salchichon, lomo, pork, right? Really good wines. Some sweets. This is chicharrones, fried pork skin, and then some little tapas with cheese, sausage, and things like this. Today is Monday. Today is Monday, so it's not too busy, right? Obviously, another day of the week will be a lot more lively. Yeah, here is the calamari sandwich again. Vermouth, I love this. If you come to Madrid, you have to try this, vermouth. Vermouth is a wine that has been seasoned. Hello. The guy from the place is greeting you. Okay, paella, Spanish omelette, snails, typical to eat in Spain, the snails, more sausage, anchovies. Okay, so what I was telling you, vermouth is a wine that has been spiced up in herbs. It's about 15 degrees. It's similar to a martini, but has a lot more flavor because it has a lot of herbs in it. This is amazing. But be careful because after you drink a couple, you can be quite drunk. It's like sangria. We are heading towards Puerta del Sol. More souvenir shops. A lot of them have been closed. Okay, this is a very typical from Spain. As I said, religion is dying a little bit with the new generations, but you know, my grandmother's time in Spain, this is very typical. All the grandmothers have a lot of this in the houses. You know, very Catholic. Sandra, I don't know if people want to ask because I'm walking for a little while now.
Sure. Someone was just asking, Paige, is it very lively at nighttime or are there restrictions at night?
Well, at the moment, people can be out until 11 p.m. If you go to the theater and the theater finish later, you can be a little bit later than 11 p.m. So this is the restrictions we have with the pandemic. Here you can see a very famous place for flamenco shows, one of the best, okay? So flamenco is typical from the south of Spain, from Andalusia. And this is Cardamomo. Is one of the most famous places to watch flamenco in Madrid. Yeah, definitely known for siestas. Here, in the working times in a lot of places are like from 9 to 2 and from 5 to 8, because from 2 to 5 is siesta time. Like in Spain, don't call anybody between 2 and 5 because people are sort of having a siesta. Okay, McDonald's, you know, it gets everywhere except Cuba. Okay, now we are heading to a very busy street, very busy place. And very beautiful. This is Puerta del Sol. Puerta del Sol is the most popular square. This is a meeting area. This is where people meet. So many times, you know, this is usually when I meet my friends, we meet here. Let's meet in Sol. Let's meet in Sol. It means sun gate, because before this was a square, it was one of the gates of the old city wall. So, you know, in the Spanish town, in medieval times, most of the Spanish towns, they had a wall surrounding it for protection against attacks. So this place here used to be one of the gates of the city, the sun gate, because it was pointing the sun, facing the sun when the sun was rising, right? Sunrise. So then when the city grew, it became a lot bigger. This is what you can see now, Puerta del Sol. So this area has been the meeting square, the people's square, where people meet, where people came to watch the news. This building over here, Puerta del Sol. Sorry. Yeah, this is like the center. This was the post office for many years. So this is where all the news came. There is like a saying in Madrid that the news reach here before they actually happen, because this was an area where everybody came to know what was going on, okay? And right here, this is very interesting. Kilometer zero, all the Spanish roads depart from here. So this is the zero. You can see this is Madrid. This point is Madrid, okay? And the rest is Spain. So this is the point zero. All the roads in Spain are measured from this kilometer. Normally it has a lot of tourists, but because we are in low season with the pandemic, no tourists. So you can see this beautiful square. It used to have a lot of cafes, a lot of meeting areas. This is an area for demonstrations, for public gatherings. And I will show you one of the most interesting things about Puerta del Sol. You can see all the people here sitting down, meeting. People come here, everybody comes here to meet. People sit down around the fountains. Okay, so you see that clock over there? That clock, this is one of our biggest traditions in Spain. Every year, the 31st of December, at 11:45 at night, we wait every wait with a plate of 12 grapes, and in every channel on the Spanish TV, we have this watch, this clock. And we wait until they ring the 12 bells from the 12 o'clock, and you have to eat one grape with each of the chimes. And you have to eat them one, the 12 of them. So you have to finish the 12 grapes with the 12 chime and eat them also. Everyone in Spain is doing this. Some people come here to this square to eat them directly here in front of the watch. So this is full of people. And this is one of the big traditions in Spain. So if you eat the 12 grapes, then you will have a good year. Okay, so it's kind of difficult when you are a child, you start learning to be able to digest the 12 grapes quickly. And then after 12 o'clock, everybody goes out, right? So after you eat the grapes, that's when everybody goes out. Sandra, sorry, I think I missed a lot of questions.
No,
Yeah.
it's been really good. We just had 2 people asking the best spots for tourists to come and stay, best area for accommodations to just have easy access to everything.
Well, this area is perfect. Sol, this is the area. It means sun. So Sol or anything close to Sol is the best area. And it's not too expensive accommodation here. Anything close to Sol is a good area to stay. There is plenty of accommodations around here. And anything else?
Does anybody have any big questions for Natalia? This has been such an amazing firsthand look and experience into the streets of Madrid, and everybody has been on this whole time. So you have captivated us completely, Natalia.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to show you the last thing before I say goodbye,
Awesome.
which is the symbol of Madrid. The symbol of Madrid, something that, you know, everybody comes to take photos of, is in the coat of arms of the city. Is this, we call it the beer and the strawberry tree, el oso y el madroño, okay? So this is, well, just a landmark where a lot of people meet as well. And yeah, Sandra, I'm not sure if I have time to answer questions or what's the deal. Or...
Yeah, we do have a few more questions coming in. I just want to thank all of our guests for attending. If you do have a few minutes left, and Natalia is here to help answer any questions. So Natalia, Tanya is asking if you have hostels here.
Yeah, we have hostels. We have a lot of hostels, very nice ones. There is one from a very popular chain. I don't remember now, but I can send you later the details. That is very close to here. That is a popular hostel that is also in London, in New York, in Miami, and it's close to here. And there are many hostels and also very good value. So yeah, a lot of people come and stay in hostels as well.
Excellent. And we're just getting a lot of compliments, Natalia, on how wonderful your tour has been and your knowledge and expertise. It's really been fantastic. Thank you. Paige is asking if there are any big supermarkets to go shopping for groceries.
Yeah, sure. There are supermarkets everywhere. In the past, there were not many in the city center, but right now, there are everywhere. A lot of big supermarkets everywhere. Carrefour. We have here a very big commercial center with a huge supermarket.
And is it like that throughout Spain as well? Generally, lots of big chain grocery stores?
Yes, everywhere. These days, even in the small towns. It wasn't like that before, but these days it's everywhere, even in the small towns.
And
thank you.
Lucy wants to know if you have any favorite spots off the beaten path that are less touristy.
In Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I also recommend you this neighborhood. If you go that way, very close to Sol, we have Lavapiés. Lavapiés is the most multicultural neighborhood. We have more than 80 nationalities in one neighborhood. I mean, I know in Canada you guys are very multicultural, but for Madrid, this place, you could feel like you are in Morocco. So I love this place. It's full of tea venues and, you know, Arabic things, and it's African restaurants. Is great. And close to there is La Latina. La Latina is one of my favorite neighborhoods. It's very close to where we are and where we have been. And it's a traditional one. It's great to go on Sundays. A lot of tapas, bars, a lot of good atmosphere.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone who's still on. I'm trying to get through all these questions coming in. Donna was asking, where is the bear in Puerta del Sol?
Well, it's the one I just showed you. The sculpture I just showed you with the strawberry tree and the bear. Yeah, I just went there actually like 3 minutes ago, but I will go there again.
No worries. It cuts out every once in a while, so she might have just missed that quickly.
Yeah, it's okay. I can go there while I answer questions.
And we have Rosemary asking, are there lots of secure bank exchange machines available?
Yeah, totally. Everywhere. You have bank machines everywhere. These days, yeah, Spain has advanced a lot on the last 10 years, 15 years. It used to be a lot more cosmopolitan in comparison to the rest of Europe, but these days it's very European. So yeah, you have plenty of cash machines and
And is Cortes Ingles still in the plaza? Is that something you know? Is Cortes Ingles still in the plaza?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I will show you right now. Corte Inglés is still right there. It's the main department store in Madrid. It's actually through that street over there. But anyways, I came back to the beer. This is the beer in Puerta del Sol, the symbol of Madrid in the coat of arms. The beer and the strawberry tree is the symbol of Madrid I was talking about. And yeah, El Corte Inglés is a main department store. Used to be pretty much like the biggest one in the old times. And now is still there, but now there has a lot of competition. But it's through one of these streets. It's still here. There are a couple of them around these streets here. Yeah, more questions, Sandra.
I think that is pretty much it. So thank you once again, Natalia, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. This is our first time doing this. If you liked it, thanks for letting us know, and please feel free to share your feedback so we can continue to do more of this for you. But we so appreciate your time, energy, and we're just eager to move forward and help you plan any travel in the future when it's safe to do so. And hopefully we'll be able to get out there and see you, Natalia, sometime.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I want to thank everyone as well for taking the time to watch the tour.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Okay.